Strength is insurance. You hope you never need it, but you'll be glad you have it. In tonight's episode, we're going to talk about Ronald Gene Simmons from 1987, and this is how it goes. It was just after Christmas in a quiet town called Dover, Arkansas. The kind of place where neighbors wave as they pass on a 2-lane road. Where the biggest news usually involves high school football or church fundraisers. Nothing about Dover suggested it was about to become the site of one of the deadliest family massacres in American history. Ronald Gene Simmons was 47 years old, a former U.S. Air Force Master Sergeant, quiet, strict, private. He lived on a rural property outside town with his wife and several of his children. The yard was cluttered with scrap metal and broken vehicles. It looked isolated, odd, maybe, but not dangerous. 3 days before Christmas in 1987, something changed. On December 22nd, Simmons began killing his family. It started with his wife, Rebecca, and his son, Gene Jr. Investigators later determined he shot them first. Then he killed his 3-year-old grandson. Over the next hours and then the next 2 days, he murdered nearly every member of his household, including children who had returned home for Christmas. These weren't sudden chaotic acts. They happened in sequence, planned and deliberate. As family members arrived for the holidays, Simmons met them at the door. One by one, he killed them. Some were shot, some were strangled. Their bodies were placed in the living room and covered with coats. He kept them there for days, and during that time, he stayed in the house. He watched television. He ate meals. He waited. By December 26th, 14 members of his family were dead. 14. It remains one of the deadliest family killings committed by a single person in U.S. history. But it didn't end there. On December 28th, Simmons drove into nearby Russellville, Arkansas. He went to a law office where he had previously worked and shot a woman named Patty Black, killing her. He then went to a convenience store and shot 2 more people, killing one and injuring another. There was no manifesto, no dramatic standoff, no attempt to flee. When police arrested him later that day at a restaurant, he offered no resistance. Officers described him as calm, almost detached. He reportedly told them, "It's all over now." During questioning, Simmons confessed. He said he believed members of his family had rejected him. He had decided, in his own words, to eliminate them. To eliminate them. What investigators uncovered afterward painted a darker picture. The family had lived in isolation. There were long-standing allegations of control, abuse, and secrecy inside the home. Windows were covered. The property was cut off from neighbors. It was a world controlled almost entirely by one man. In court, Simmons showed little emotion. When sentenced to death, he refused to appeal. He requested the sentence be carried out swiftly. In 1990, he was executed by lethal injection in Arkansas. What makes this story terrifying isn't just the violence, it's the stillness, the normalcy. The idea that during Christmas, while lights were hanging on porches and families were gathered across the country, a man was methodically wiping out his own bloodline inside a quiet rural house. No alarms, no headlines warning anyone beforehand, just silence. Imagine being the relative who didn't show up that Christmas. Imagine learning days later that nearly everyone you loved had been lying inside that house the entire time. When the authorities entered, they described a scene that felt staged. Bodies arranged, coats carefully placed. A frozen version of what should have been a holiday gathering. The most chilling detail? He reportedly spent Christmas Day inside that house, alone with the bodies, waiting for the final family members to arrive so he could complete what he had planned. No panic, no frenzy, just patience. And that's what makes it real. Monsters in movies scream and chase you. Real ones can sit quietly at a dinner table. And wait, that was the story of Ronald Gene Simmons in 1987. A real case, a real trial, a real execution. And sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that actually happened. Now get your ass up and go get in the gym before somebody gets you.